Welcome to UG Academy. This is our 15th video on Python. In the last video, I talked about object-oriented programming and how to create a class. In this lesson, we would like to talk about the subject of operator overloading, which is another very important concept in Python, object-oriented programming. First of all, I would like to import this randint from random from the standard library. Later, I'll show you how are we going to use it. Then, we'll create the class we want to use for demonstration today, which is a snake class. And then this snake has two class variables. A class variable is a variable that belongs to the class itself, but not to a particular instance. The variable we created for the class before, for example here, self.name, this name variable only belongs to an instance of person, but it does not belong to the person class directly. So this is an instance variable, and if we define variable here without the self, it is a class variable which belongs to the entire class. Now, after defining the class variable, we have to define the initialization function. So in the initialization function, we define an instance variable called body, which is actually a list, consists of some colors of this snake, like this. This is a list. And then it will randomly choose an integer from 0, 1, 2, which corresponds to the index here of this colors list, and then put into this list, which calls body, which is an instant variable called body. So our snake is actually a list of color. Now, let's try to create a few snake objects. Here, we create a snake of length 3, divide here, and then we create a snake of length 5. Call them S1 and S2. So S1 and S2 are instance of the snake class. Now, how about if we want to try to have a look at the length of S1? Can we use len S1 that we do on string on list? Let's have a look. See, the object of type snake has low length. Because it is not a string or list, Python doesn't know what length means for the snake class we just created. So here we can use the operator overloading concept to define what length means for our snake class. We can do it like this. Create a length function for this class, underscore len underscore. Usually, for function begin with underscore and end with underscore, it is a function for operator overloading, and it is not to be directly called with snake. In this case, we define the length of snake as the length of the body variable. Since body is a list, so we can directly call len on self.body, and it will therefore define the length of the snake. Let's try to run the script again. So now you can see that it can return that the length of S1 is 3 because we input 3 here. So this list should be of length 3. Let's try S2. Yes. No surprise, the length is 5 because we input 5 here. Okay. Of course, there's also many other possible operator for overload. Let's have a look at the string operator. String operator defines how should this snake class be interpreted as a string. Let's define the string overloading function as follows: underscore str underscore. So we would like to define the string form of snake as this ASCII art. So we return the class variable snake.art. This snake.art is shared among all snake instance. Okay, so let's try to print the snake. Let's try to print a snake out. See, it print out the ASCII art. Since this snake variable, snake.art variable is shared upon all instance of snake, S1 and S2 shouldn't make a difference. Okay, let me comment out this. As you can see, they all share the same ASCII art. So if I print S1 or if I print S2, there will be no difference. But if I comment out this function, it will print out something which looks pretty nonsense, which is actually a memory address of the object we just created, which is not what we cared about. We would like to have this good-looking ASCII art. So we define this string function to let Python know how should we print out this snake object and to interpret it as string. The operator overloading I mentioned here, in some sense, is not true operator overloading because it haven't actually involved an operator yet. But nevertheless, it works in a similar manner as the following true operator overloading I'm going to mention. Here, we are truly going to overload an operator. We are going to overload the add operator. The add operator is very simple. It simply is the plus sign in the Python sense. So we are going to define what means to add two snake, like S1 plus S2. What does that mean? The most simple way to interpret it is to concat their body. So put the body of S1 and S2 together and make them one big snake, like that. Before doing the concatenation, we have to first check whether other is a valid type. The other here means another object we are going to add with this snake instance. Of course, we can only add two snakes together. So the first step we are going to do is that we check whether the type of itself is equal to the type of self is equal to the type of other. If you don't understand what is the other here, it's okay. I'll further explain later. Now, if the type that does not match, we are going to raise an error message. Raise type error. This is how Python raise error, and then type error means that the type is not correct. And then we put a bracket here and include the error message string to let our user easily know what is the problem here. If there is no problem, we perform our operation. First, we create a new snake because two snakes add together will give birth to a new snake. Okay, this is how our add operator works, and it doesn't affect our original snake. So we first create a new snake. Yes, at first is of strength 0, and then we assign the body of the snake of the new snake as the concatenation of self.body, which is this snake, and then other.body, which is another snake. Since the body of the snake is actually a list, and then we can take advantage of the built-in add operator for the list operation, which is simply connected two lists together, and then assign this connected list to the body of the new snake. And then we return the new snake as the final result of this add operation. So a very quick example: S3 equals to S1 plus S2. The S3 here is going to be the return value of this add function, and the S1 here is going to be self. And then since with this add operator overloading, S2 is going to be passed into other. Therefore, in this case, S1 is self, and then S2 is other. And then this add operator is being overloaded by this add function. And the return value new snake is assigned to S3. This is how an operator overloading works. And it works the same for many other operators. Like in this case, we define the add operator, but if needed, we can also define the minus operator, things like that. Minus operator, quotient operator, multiplication operator, and other more exhaustive operator can also be overloaded in Python. But for simplicity, we will simply have a look at the add because they both work similarly. You can check for documentation to know what is the name of the function. Now, have a look at the length of the new snake, S3. Okay, the length is x, which is exactly what we will be expecting because S1 is of length 3, and then S2 is of length 5. S3 is S1 plus S2, so it should have a length of x. Okay, after this add operator, we are going to the last operator we are talking about today, the get item operator. The get item operator is simply this bracket, which is going to be overloaded. So for our get item operator, we'll simply define it as we receive an index in this get item operator, and then we return the corresponding index within self.body. Simple to understand. Now let me show you how this get item operator works. For example, print S3. So this is the operator we are going to overload with this function. For example, let's put it like 3. I'm not sure what it is, but it should be one of these 3 values. Let's have a look. Yes, green this time. How about if we try like 10? Will it work? Oh, there's an error. The reason is because S3 is only of length x, and then the body variable of S3 it has only x values, and then if we are trying to access 10 here, this 10 is being passed into this get item function in this index place, and if we are putting 10 here, it simply get out of length of this list of the body. Okay, so there will be an error. So in this video, I talk about 4 types of operator overloading, but in fact there are still many other types. For example, there is mul, which overloaded the multiplication operator. There is, for example, set item. Also, if maybe there is. See, there's equal, which overloaded the equal operator. The equal operator is this one. And there should be still many other possible operator overloaded. For example, yeah, these are all operators to be overloaded. Some of them I haven't talked about. Anyway, but most of them work similarly to these few examples because the operator overloading function will take in another variable that interacts with the operator and then perform some operation on itself or return some useful value within the class. This is how operator overloading is performed.